Hello viewers, welcome to our program which we have titled Africans, Let Us Bridge the Digital Divide from the Grassroots Up. The time to do that is now. Will you join me and other Africans in bridging the digital divide?
Yes.
I'm glad to hear that from you. We really need to bridge the digital divide right from the grassroots up, because it is absolutely important that we Africans start thinking in a digital way. All of us must have the technologies that are used in modern business, in modern governance, so that our countries will have a sustainable development, sustainable economic development, and sustainable educational development. Now, what exactly do we mean when we say in Africa there's a huge digital divide? We must acquire a digital mindset. We are far too much behind the developed countries in the use of computers and computer devices. We all know that these computers and computer devices, which we call information and communications technologies, ICTs in short, information and communications technologies. If you look at the number of ICT devices that we possess in Africa, computers, laptops, servers, printers, and so on and so forth, you find that what you have is tiny compared with what people in the developed countries have. And you need all these computer devices to produce your goods and services in a way that meets the global demand. This is absolutely important. Now, in Africa, even market women are using their cell phones to contact their counterparts in other marketplaces. Take the case of African farmers at this point in time. Viewers, already many African farmers are using their cell phones to gather information about planting seasons, about the best time to harvest their crops, about the best markets to take their crops to, about price systems, and so on and so forth. This is delightful because it means that the farmers, including fishermen by the way, they know the optimum time to do their businesses. And please, it's not only the farmers and the fishermen, doctors in some African countries are already practicing what we call e-medicine. That is to say, electronic medicine. They are connecting over the internet with their counterparts in different parts of the world about treating patients, about the latest medical technologies. But the point is, even though we have some very smart African ICT specialists, the number we have is not enough at all. We are going to inspire ourselves to be determined to learn, and to learn seriously, ICTs of our choice. Some classrooms in African countries, in African schools, are using e-learning. That is, learning from courses that are on the internet. This is also good. And you viewers, some of you are students and you've been using e-learning. Do you find that useful?
Yes.
Do you find it exciting?
Yes.
There you go. So we need you, young people, to please brace up and join us in this our quest to bridge the digital divide in Africa. We shall now have a short commercial break to hear messages from our sponsors. Please stay with us. Do not go away. Welcome back, viewers. I know that some of us are in the rural areas, in semi-urban areas, where we cannot get books to buy or where we cannot afford the books to buy. We can go on the internet. There are certain websites that are very useful. I'll give you two of them. One is www.howstuffworks.com. Another one is whatisit.com. Another one is wikipedia.com. Please go to any or all of these websites. See what they offer as regards giving you information that you can learn about information and communications technologies. Also, there are DVDs that have educational programs. Some of them are here. This one tells you about learning Adobe Illustrator. This one teaches computer animation. This one teaches Microsoft Access. Very interesting. If you can lay your hands in any of these CDs or DVDs that teach about computers, please do so and learn yourself. Also, we have textbooks. If you can manage to get some, here is one. This one teaches Java, and this one teaches Photoshop, and this one Cloud. As you can see, with all these books, all these learning resources at our disposal, we really must strive to learn about these technologies. Now, girls and women, I have a special word for you. You must learn computers. Don't say because you're a girl, you won't learn computers. No. This is not acceptable. And we, believe it or not, we have some women, some young, smart African women who have made great strides in the field of ICTs. There's June Arunga. She's from Kenya, and she set up a big multimedia production unit in the city of New York. Also, we have Funke Okweke. She's a Nigerian, and she's the founder and CEO of Main One Cable Company. Her company is doing marvelous things in Africa. One of them is laying an undersea cable system from Portugal to South Africa and giving countries on the West African coast part of her services. This is a big infrastructural thing that she has done, and she's doing many more. And she's making it possible for our internet services to be faster and more reliable. We shall now have a short commercial break to hear messages from our sponsors. Welcome back, viewers. We would also want to look at the digital divide between those who live in the cities and big towns and those who live in the rural areas. We need to bring up the rural areas along with us. Because remember that most of the food that is consumed in Africa is produced by rural dwellers. We need to increase their productivity. They need to be computer literate. This is why we need to bring them along. Then there is the digital gap between men and women. We must bridge this. Now, let us look at some of the technologies that are used in using the computer. One of the latest ones is what we call cloud computing. In cloud computing, instead of you buying expensive hardware like computers, like servers, like printers, you don't bother. You just buy the very minimal, inexpensive hardware. And you employ the services of persons whom we call cloud service producers to access those goods and services that you need. You have to be connected to the internet, and then you subscribe to a cloud service producer for some of the software that you need, all the programs that you need. They may be data processing program, they may be script writing program, they may be statistics, and so on and so forth. There's no need for you to purchase them. You get what you need from your cloud service producer. Once you have connected to the internet, you get the services that you need, and you pay only for the amount that you use. We are all familiar in the house with the use of electricity supply, water supply, telephone services, and so on and so forth. We do not prepare the water that we use. We do not prepare the electricity that we use, but we are connected to electricity companies, water companies, and there's a meter which registers the amount that we use, and we pay only for the amount that we use. Cloud computing is similar to that. In cloud computing, you have what we call software as a service. This is where you do not buy your software. You don't need to buy this Java. You don't need to buy your Access, although you must have learned how to use them. All you have to do is connect to the internet, to your software as a service producer, and you will download the particular software that you need. And you will use that software for the length of time that is necessary, and you will be billed, you will be asked to pay for the length of time that you've used. That is what we call software as a service. We also have what we call infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service means the service producer will give you all the infrastructure that you need, at least most of the infrastructure that you need. It will give you in a virtual way. You wouldn't need to buy expensive computers. You wouldn't need to buy servers. You wouldn't need to install printers, you wouldn't need to install a lot of the hardware that you need. You will get them from your cloud service producer on the internet. There are other services that you can get on the internet, but let's stop there for now. You remember that all along we've been talking about computers and computer devices. Now let's look at some of them. Very interesting. We have different types of computers. There are what we call personal computers. That is, computers that we as individuals use. Usually one computer to a user. We have different types of them. This is what we call a desktop computer. It is fairly large and it has a separate keyboard of its own, and it also has what we call a system unit. You put it on a table. But we also have what we call laptop computers. Here we are. A laptop can sit on a table, but it can also sit conveniently on your lap while you are doing your computer processing. It's lighter than desktop, and it's easily taken about. We have them in different sizes. This one, for instance, is smaller than this one, another laptop. But we even have smaller personal computers. One of them is a tablet computer. Look at this one. It's smaller than a laptop computer. We call it a tablet computer. This is an iPad computer. It's smaller than a tablet, but again, it still does many of the things that your computer can do, but not as much as a laptop or a desktop computer. Then you have your cell phones. Very interesting. These, believe it or not, are computers on themselves. They can do some of the things that your computer can do. The ones that are most common in Africa, especially in the rural areas, is this one. We call it a feature phone. You can use it to call your friends, you can use it to store data, and so on and so forth. But the uses of it are limited. This is what we call a smartphone. And as the name suggests, it is smart. It can do many of the operations that your laptop and your desktop can do. Look at the size of it compared with the size of your tablet, the size of your laptop, the size of your desktop. It's very handy. And some of them are extremely sophisticated. That is to say, they can do many operations. All the ones that you've mentioned just now are what you call personal computers. But apart from personal computers, we also have another category, mainframe computers. As the name suggests, they are in big frames. Some of them can occupy the whole football field. These are computers used by multinationals, those companies that have branches in different parts of the world. They need to connect with their various branches in different countries. So they need computers that are very large and that work very fast and that have huge storage capacities. The last set of computers that we have are what we call supercomputers. These are very big computers that can do millions of computations in 1 second. They are used by big oil mining companies. They are also used by weather forecast agencies. When you tune in your television to listen to the weather forecast, you see you can get weather forecast for all the different parts of the world. They use supercomputers to make those forecasts. As you can imagine, supercomputers are extremely expensive. But even so, some companies, governments, and so on do buy them. Well, viewers, here we draw the curtain for today. Please join us next week when we give you another exciting episode of Africans. Let us bridge the digital divide. Until then, please continue to explore the many activities available on your computers. This is Yewande Afonja.